you see what's happening in India, and you will find that if you play the regional identity card, if you play the language card, you play the jati card, then you will get thousands and millions of people behind you.
Correct.
So you call it Dravidianism, you call it caste reservations,
Correct.
you call it whatever.
Correct.
So Hindus find it easier to gather in sub-identities. Like, you will fight for your language issue, you'll fight for your regional issue, you'll fight for your caste issue. But to come together as a Hindu, why is it so difficult for us?
So this is the hypocrisy of both the left and the right, and I'll explain why. Because the hypocrisy of the left is well known, the hypocrisy of the right is rarely spoken of. And I don't belong to the right. I belong to the Indic side. I'm very clear about it. So tribalism is a reality of human psychology. It could be ideological, it could be ethnic, it could be linguistic, it could be cultural or religious. Now we are comfortable with tribalism at the sub-identity level. But the moment we speak of Hinduism, we start mouthing this nonsense. It's all inclusive. You don't compromise on the boundaries of your sub-identity, but you compromise on the boundaries of the larger identity. What stupidity is this? Who is teaching you this? When Bhishma speaks with Yudhishthira at the fag end of his life and he's basically giving him, let's say, discourses on Rajniti and whatnot, one of the things I think he says is that Vedas are supreme. Now, going by that, if I say this, that Vedas are supreme, there are obviously certain folds within the Hindu denomination or Hindu sects who don't believe as Veda as the primary pramana. But they may not believe that the Veda is the primary source or proof of this fact. That could be the distinction between these Astika and Nastik schools of thought. Nevertheless, if you go by the scripture, the definition of Bharat and the definition of what is Mlecha is dependent entirely on subscription to the Veda and eating habits, which is we will not consume beef. These are certain non-negotiables. You can't say this today. The left disagreeing with it is no surprise. But you can't say this even with people from the non-left. Because apparently, to include the modern secular liberal Hindu, who anyway doesn't want to be a part of you, you must somehow compromise on your non-negotiables. Whereas the other side is saying, whoever you may be, you join this fold, you will live by this, period. That's it. If not, you don't get to speak on our subjects. You don't get to hold forth on what is modern Hinduism without actually even subscribing to the basics of non-negotiables. That need for very clear red lines is not need for fundamentalism, is the need for a clearly defined identity. And when that need is constantly diluted like a company which wants to expand its shareholder base or its customer base at the expense of its core messaging, will come back to haunt you at some point.